Hey, what's up again, YouTube? Hopefully everyone had a very Merry Christmas. And so today was a really big day. Big profits today off of everything that we talked about. Not well, maybe not everything, but most of like a lot of them. And so we're gonna do the recap again. Um, just kind of like we've been doing. I do have another idea, but I'm waiting for a dip buy opportunity, so I'm not going to mention it in this video. So I won't have any new ideas, but I'm definitely looking for some things for a continuation and so forth, and talk about kind of what went on. And so we'll bring up the trading view. As you can see, the S&P took another push higher. We went up about 0.5%. So a pretty good day for the markets broadly, and we'll just go down the same list we've been going down. Alibaba recommended this on December 12th, so we were about here, and like I was saying for this one, around 205, and like I was saying for this one, I actually bought this one even a little lower, closed out a lot at 205, closed some more, towards 211. And I talked about this having a nice breakout towards 220. We're getting pretty close there. Like we hit a high 217. It's only $3 away. Maybe 1.5% or so. So this one's been a big winner the whole time. It's been pretty much up every day. Even the days that it's down, it has pretty big reversals, and it doesn't close down all that much. So it's been really well. PayPal, talked about this one, kind of adding on these dips, for the push towards 111, and I talked about that on the 12th. So right here, and we kind of exploded up, had real nice profits, closed a lot of it, re-added a little on the dip, and if you go through my last videos, then you can see that I talked about even rebuying this on the dip, and so this one paid out very nicely today. And we talked about Qualcomm. Qualcomm traded down today, but I talked about this one being vulnerable for a pullback towards 85, and I said I liked spreads here, and and then I liked basically I like it much better at 85 rather than here, but I like call spreads here out to at least January 15th, like I've been saying. We talked about Home Depot several times about having a bullish bias, and it did go up a lot, but I was looking for a pullback towards that 208 range. We never got that, so I'm not going to recap HD anymore, just because I never bought it. So we talked about Adobe. Adobe, I took off a lot of the position at 328, like I was talking about. Bought Adobe literally on this day, about 319 or so. At 328, and I talked about buying shorter term calls for this one because it's going to have more of a parabolic move. We've moved to the upside pretty nice, and I still think this has potential to get up to the 338 range. And right now we're at 331, but I've played a lot smaller than I was in when we were right over here. We talked about AbbVie. AbbVie had a nice spike in the morning, and I took some profits there because I talked about adding some AbbVie in my last video on that last dip, and we spiked up in the morning. I didn't sell all of it, but I sold about 40% of it, and then on the redip, I've added about 20% back. I'd add a little more on a little bit more downside push. So I still like this position a lot, especially to get towards 93. And over time we could probably rip higher, but for now, the next objective is 93, and then when we hit that, we'll go over the next objective. We talked about Hasbro as well this day, buying it at 101. We hit 101.75, so I didn't quite buy it. So I'm not going to talk about that, but I do think Hasbro has upside potential, but it's vulnerable for some dips. And on a dip buy, on a decent dip, I would be looking to add that, and I'll update you guys if I do. Um, and then the third day, yeah, I believe that was the third, yeah, the third video, talked about Square. This one's been a loser for me. As it continued to push down, I said that I wouldn't add anymore, even though I did add a little bit, when it pushed down. But when it pushed down even farther, I said I wouldn't add anymore. It kind of spiked up, but it was weak today. This was actually, other than my hedge position, this was my only loser today. So real nice there. Talked about Boeing. Boeing actually did go down about 1% today. It was a little bit of a bummer because I did exit my position kind of in my short position. I was short call spreads and it spiked up against me. And then when it dipped a little bit, I actually exited the position for a loss. I did scalp some profits on one of these ups, and then I closed them on the down. But overall, I lost money on the trade. Sucks, when things continue to work the way that you thought it would have, and even though you took the loss already. But like I said, also in the last video, don't be so emotional about things like that. There's always another trade. It's always another day. We talked about the GLD. Talked about the GLD literally right here in this flag formation. I talked about the ascending, like an ascending wedge for breakout, and gold had a really nice pop this day and another gap and go this day. Well, I guess yeah, pretty much we closed near the highs. I talked about 142 being the objective on this day. Somewhere in this candle, I closed out about a third of my position. And then once we had this pop, I was saying in the last video, if we had another spike higher, I'd be out of about 80%, and that's about what I'm out. So I'm out of 80% of it. I still hold like 20% of it, for continued potential upside. I'm not sure if we're going to get that. I kind of think we're going to dip down a little bit, and if we do, then I'd be looking to rebuy what I just sold. So had really nice profits here. Talked about the 141, 142 call spread for 25 cents. That's trading for about 55 cents right now. So up about 120%. I sold a lot of it at about 53 cents. So, like I said, 142 is pretty much my primary objective. There's been a lot of nice call activity in here that I've been seeing. Just today, somebody sold 5,000. They were out in March though, so longer term bias. But they sold 5,000 puts and they bought 10,000 calls out in March. I forgot what the exact strikes were. Um, but basically that's very bullish risk reversal type trade. Obviously, it's big. The contracts were the calls they bought. I think were like 350 or something like that, and they bought 10,000 of them. So $3.5 million bet on gold. A lot of guys that I really respect a lot that I listen to and kind of focus on. They're bullish long term on gold, and as am I. I think gold is a great long term investment as well. I'm not so much of a long term player, but just throwing that out there. And then we talked about Facebook. Talked about this being my favorite long. Got Facebook kind of in this range. We spiked up, dipped down, then we had another spike today. I've been simultaneously kind of buying and selling. Facebook had a nice day today, up 1.3%. I mean, I know the Nasdaq in general had a nice day, and but I think Facebook's gonna start ripping. It's gonna start filling. On a breakout over this candle, I think it's gonna start filling this gap and fly towards 213. I still like Facebook a lot. I still have a lot of my position. I have kind of, like I said, scalped out a little bit of it, simultaneously. You always have to, especially when you're trading options. You always have to be pretty active the way you do things. If you just bought one call, because you're not a big player, I definitely hang on to it and look for a higher push. If you're in one contract, you don't want to get super greedy. Like I'm gonna start selling some, probably 210, 211, and I'm gonna hang on to some, for the continuation of this gap. And ultimately, I think Facebook could actually see new all-time highs. But like I said, I like to take objectives one step at a time. I don't like to get too far ahead of myself. We could easily have a big market-wide pullback, and that could kind of throw a wrench into it. So that's why I did the hedge. Talked about the SPYs. I did the 320, 315 call spread. Bought those for like 93 cents or 94. I think it was 93 cents. And so I threw on a hedge. That's a great risk reward. You can risk one to make five. They're even cheaper now. I'm not sure exactly what they're trading at, but and as we continue to push, a little higher than we are now, I'd actually look to add a little more hedge on, just to be safe. Unless if you close a lot of your long positions or, something like that, some way of either raising cash or hedging. I would recommend that. And trying to think. I have another trade idea. I'm looking for it on a pullback, so I'll do that on the next one. I'll throw it out there. If you can get Microsoft on about a 1 to 2% dip, I mean, I can't tell you the exact level yet, but I will talk about it. But Microsoft, I like it a lot long. Kind of on a dip though. I wouldn't just really necessarily chase it, but I talked about in the last video about how you shouldn't chase things all the time. Sometimes it's fine to play the momentum, play the breakout, whatever. But yeah, Microsoft's very, very strong. Um, there's a lot of strong stocks right now. I mean, Apple's one that I kind of wish I was in. Things like Tesla. There's a lot of them that are just really flying higher. But like I said, you can't be in everything all the time. And trades come and go. They always do. So, yeah. So yeah, we recapped. I believe we recapped everything. I had a really big day today. This has been a big one for me. If any of you guys followed along, pretty much with any of the trades, you guys would have made big profits. Um, and yeah. So, I'm trying to think if I should throw anything else in there. Like I said, I kind of like throwing in the Microsoft a little towards the end. For those of you that actually watched the whole video, kind of get a little heads up about what I'm gonna say. And so yeah, yeah. Let's see, Baba. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did Baba, Qualcomm, PayPal, um, and yeah, Adobe, AbbVie, Hasbro, the GLD, Boeing, Square, and yeah, and Facebook. So, and like I said, Facebook is still my favorite long, um, you know. And so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this content. I'm talking a little bit better now that my teeth have unswollen a little. I still kind of have a mess up speech or a little bit of slur in my speech, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys, and peace out, guys.